Hi everybody, it's Colin here from Woodthorp International. Well, I've now got a complete downline now going all the way around. So the train what was doing the shuttle is now just under my control, and I'm just running it round the downline track. Now I'm doing that because I'm only got 4 blocks on it, and it's just easier just to run it because one of the blocks is over 10 meters long. But what I wanted to show you is something else what I've been up to, and I'll just open the doors to show you it all happening. Well, I'm sorry about the wind, if you can hear the wind and the trees, but there's Operation North Pole going round the track, and then if you look down at the bottom of the screen, there's a Japanese train running, and that's on a continuous loop. So I'll share with you what I've done. I'll just shut the doors. So what I've actually done is made a continuous loop for Japan to have a bit of track to run on. I hadn't just got round to doing it, but this weekend I had. Now that is just being run by me. It's using a block, but it's just one block and I'm driving the train, which is fine. I like driving the trains. So what I've done is, at both sides of the helix, about here opposite each other, I've done to there, and I used the temporary Kato track to go all the way around what that train's running on. I was trying to get 2, but I don't have enough track of Kato, and I'm not going to cut flexi track to make it happen, because I'm wanting to have, I only want to put the code 55 down when it's going down permanent. Like I've done up here, I've just fixed it, and that's all there is to it. And like I say, it's only one little circuit, but it's nice, and it gives you the inkling of what I'm up to, having Japan down there and it running round just in this, past here under the trestle bridge. And that was just to give it a bit further. It's another 8 foot of track for it, or 10 foot of track I think it is, to run on. But the gap is there as much as anything not to see it, so if anything happens underneath, I can get my hands in, and there's going to be a gap there where I can get my hand in, and there will be one on this side before this edge comes. This edge here goes down, and then there'll be the tunnel mouth where I can get my hand in at the end. So it does a couple of jobs. And then if I'm just filming America and Japan runs past, which it is doing now, you can't see it. So if I'm just doing an American video, that's all that'll be happening. So it's going great. I love it. Everything has worked so far to plan. So I've just stopped everything, so it's it's a bit easier to hear what I'm saying, because now I've got the 6 trains running, as you know, they make a lot of noise with all the wheels and stuff. So Japan is running on block 3.8. But what I had to do to give power to all of the downline from this point all the way round to just up there on the right hand side, the track. There's a gap in between the sleepers, and that is where there's a join there. So that block, like I say, is 10 meters long, but it's all powered off one power supply of the block unit, and it's 3.7, because this is 3.7, and there's the wires there. And what I've done is basically daisy chained the power to feed all the points. So those 3 points there, those 2 bits of track, those 4 points there, and any track, the station track over there, there's 4 points and a piece of track going from the up line to the down line, and then all the way around here. And I've had to put the wires in to if it's there. On iTrain, they're not there again. They're just straight bits of track like I've shown you before. But because there's these little bits here, that one there, and there's a little bit in between there, it's very wasteful in a way making them blocks, and in a way sort of pointless, because a rule of thumb is make your blocks as long as your longest train. Now that's not always possible, like that bit of track there. It's only big enough for a loco, but not a whole train. But what I've done to save as much as it is money, there is no point it being an independent block. So I've joined it onto that, and when I make that separate all the way around here, because at the moment that is all one block, including the points. The points aren't there on iTrain, they're just a straight bit of track again. But what I'll do is, if that point from there to the end of the toes is 160 mil, if that is 150, what I'll end up doing is that will come 210 will that point, because you have to put the measurements of every block or point down on iTrain, and with you then doing speed measuring with the trains, it then knows where it is to where to stop it, because it's got a measurement of the block. So when it enters a block, it starts counting, and then it knows where to stop it at the end of the block if that's where you want it to stop, or in the middle. So what you do, I personally put power to the points at the heel of the point. I believe what they say, if I've got it right, that's the heel and that's the toes. We only have one heel and we have 5 toes. Now, okay, there's only 2 toes, but some points are 3. And that's why it's called that, if I've got it correct. Now, if that piece of track there is only 300 mil long, what I would do is put metal rail joiners on, attach it to that, and this point is 165 mil long on both the straight and the curve. And what I would then say to iTrain, I would type it in, that point is 465 mil long. 3 for that and 165 for that. For both edges. Now, you can have it with plastic rail joiners in, but if you do, you can run both wires to the same feed. But if you just put metal rail joiners in, you've only got one set of wires going to the feed. Now, if by chance it's on the other side, on the toe end, you could put a metal joiner on this side and an insulated on there, or put two insulators, but it must have the minimum of one insulation rail joiner on the frog, like you do on normal DCC. And that's because, as you all know, when the point's facing straight, if that's positive, negative, it will work. And if they're powered, you power them to the same feed to save a block. But the moment you change the point, this is the negative side to go to the frog, and all of the frog is negative. And if you don't have that plastic rail joiner in, it then fuses because you've got two negatives. So you either just put two plastic rail joiners in or one. I have just on those are all got plastic. Now, if you have a few points in a row, and I'll show you on a plan, not so much them, but in a row, excuse me walking over to the screen, in a row in like a goods yard or the fiddle yard, they're all in a row. What you can do is just have one feeding all of them, so when a train goes onto them, they light up red. Because if a train's going down to this line, it can't do out with the other points anyway. So you might as well just save a little bit on that. And that works. But where these points are down here, in this area, but I've just moved them out of the way, you want them separate because it just looks better. Because if a train runs over this line, if they're all connected, they all go red, and it's to indicate that there's a train on it. Well, there isn't. So it doesn't work on those types of points, or points like what face each other, like them two. So you've got swings and roundabouts, you have to have two feeds. They're not blocks, but they use a block up. So each of my LoDi 8 GBM units, which makes my blocks, I have 8 on each unit. So if I can save one unit on each layout, America and Japan might be only one, but Europe and England I might even save 3 overall. It saves a bit of money without spoiling it, because there's no point spending all the money it does cost to do block work and then spoiling it to save some. You might as well just wait and get another one and do it right. So I've wired all those points up. They're ready. They've all got feeds, and as you can see, there's loads of wires all going down to those blocks, and it's just feeding it like a bus basically, is that one block, but it's using the LoDi system what works with iTrains. It's just I'm using it as a normal DCC controller for this down line going down there, what I've just put in, and the Japanese line. So it's a bit more fun now, and I can just see, sat here watching the world go by as in my trains, and I can see down in Japan. And if you imagine Japan is just going to be virtually white, as in it's going to be a snow scene everywhere, and whatever you can see for the boards of America all the way around here is going to be the same 2 foot lower for Japan. And even this board, what goes off towards Europe and brings trains in from Europe to America or its fiddle yard, there'll be one a bit lower, which will take Japan to England, or England to Japan, or England to the fiddle yard. So it's virtually the same footprint. The helix is at the top and the bottom. But if you imagine I would have had to return here, it round to join back on, how much more track I have going round the outside of the helix, and that's why I put it under the trestle bridge. And eventually, like here, America gets onto the helix and comes off the helix here. It'll be the same down here. It'll come down, it'll join onto that track there, which will be going off that way, and it's heading in the right direction, because not forgetting that's going to be the inside line. And then when it's gone all the way around Japan, say American train, and it needs to get back to America, when it comes round here from the right, and they'll be coming down here, there'll be a point here, and it'll go off and go back up the helix there. Because the helix exit or entrance is on this side in Japan, but in America, it's up here on the left side, as I've just looked at it. The other thing I've done is I've just put an extension on here for the river. What's going to start about here, it's going to come in out of the world onto the layout, round. It's going to be lower. I'll carve all this out. It'll come round here and then come out and disappear back into the world. And what it's called is Reflection Cove. And what I'm wanting to do, if you imagine a train on the track here, I won't put it on the track so I don't fuse it if it's not on right. I'm hoping, and it should work, the reflection in the river will reflect the trains as they go past and all the wagons, and in the background there'll be bushes and trees, so we can't see that side of the layout. That's the plan. So I'll be able to sort of film it going round like that. It's like we won't be able to see that part of the track because I'm going to put a big rock up here just to block the line of sight. And then in here, this is going to be called Mirror Lake. There'll be a gap here and a sandy area for people to come and play in the lake, you know, and stuff like that. And I should get the reflection there of the trees in the background and the rock face over here with trees on top from any angle, and I might have to just film it over the top. But this is just for scenic, Might catch a bit of the trains coming in there or round at the other side. It's just to cover the top of the helix, because there's the helix, and then this will get all covered in with removable paneling here. So if I need just to get into this area, I can't do now about any of this. The way I get into the track under here is I can get in the middle. Even I can get in the middle, and I don't bend very well. So I've got that ready, because now I've got these two tracks down. My next job when the electronics come is to wire it all up, which will take a lot of doing. Tidy all the wires up. They'll all go to one of the boards what will be hanging down, and up underneath I'm going to put one in this area here, and then there'll be one, if not two, over there. I don't know how many will be on this side, or it might be a bigger board to get more on, because there's the lumber yard here in this area, and then that big mountain to show how they used to get the logs down the mountain in the 1900s. That's what I'm going to try and show in this area, as in like a heritage area for the people who worked here. And then over in that area where the track is in the middle, that's going to be a timber yard. There'll be other goods driving, going around, the intermodals and oil trains and stuff. And then there'll be the station in the middle of those two lines, down to them 2 points from that point. So I'm pleased I've got two tracks. I've got the passing loop to put in for this side on that point, and then there's two passing loops going down on the far side, and at each end of the down line there's going to be a small line there from that point just to store an engine, and down at that end there'll be two lines just to store a couple of engines for if they need to go and get refueled and stuff like that. So I'm really happy, and like I say, I'm driving that train over there at the moment, and that one, because it's good fun. And iTrain operates the other three at the moment on the upline. So barring waiting for the electronics, I might do some scenic work now, just to do something different. I could lay some more track on the inner, but I might just have a change. A change is as good as a rest. So I thought I'd share that with you, and I hope you're all well, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye.